Hi, everyone. It's Alexander Platt from the LSO, back for another day of 30 Days of Symphony. Well, I hope you've been enjoying our wonderful Bach and Beethoven and Vivaldi, but now we're going to make you musically eat your Wheaties because we're going to go to another great masterpiece of the symphonic literature, but this one I will say in advance is completely obscure, but undeservedly so, because if composers like Bach and Vivaldi were the forerunners to the modern-day symphony of Beethoven and Brahms, it is the work you're going to hear now that is literally the foundation, the very beginning of the Russian symphony. From mid-19th century Russia, from the 1860s, the Symphony in C by Balakirev. Now, who, may you ask, is Balakirev? Well, Balakirev was the father figure of that group of composers that we all heard about in our music appreciation classes, that group of Russian nationalist composers known as the Mighty Handful or the Mighty Five. Now, even though you probably don't know the name of Balakirev, you probably know the Mighty Five. That was that group of hardscrabble, young nationalist composers, literally trying to grow a classical music culture in Russia out of almost nothing. Rimsky-Korsakov was probably the most famous of the group. He left us Scheherazade, and then, of course, there's Modest Mussorgsky, who wrote The Pictures at an Exhibition. But Balakirev was the father figure of them all, and this Symphony in C is an amazing fresco of Russian music as it was in the mid-19th century, again, starting from scratch. It's a symphony in the traditional four movements, a sonata allegro first movement, a rather Mendelssohnian scherzo, if Mendelssohn was in Russia or St. Petersburg, a rhapsodic slow movement of very Orientalist mystery, and then a sturdy finale built entirely on collected Russian folk songs. So here it is, Russian music at the very, very beginning, Balakirev's Symphony in C, one of the great Russian conductors of the 20th century. Yevgeny Svetlanov conducts the State Symphony Orchestra of the good old USSR.